Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah once again for our lives. I come to you once again from Mamphec with another session on our health. Food is one of the essential things we can't do away with as humans. And since we can't do away with it, we need to keep it clean and safe for consumption. So for today's session, we are going to talk about food hygiene. Now before we start, we have to know what hygiene is and we have to know what food hygiene itself is. Now, with hygiene in this context, it involves practices to prevent food poisoning and also conditions and measures put in place to ensure that our food is safe from the production stage to the consumption stage. Now, food hygiene is a scientific discipline describing handling, preparation and storage of food in ways that prevent foodborne illnesses. Now, here are some few principles of food hygiene that was put down by the World Health Organization. One is to prevent contaminating food that come as a result of mixing chemicals, spreading from people to people, from pets and also our pests. And two, it says that we should separate raw foods and cooked food to prevent contaminating the cooked one, since the raw food still contains some few bacteria and pathogens. Then also, we should cook food for the appropriate length of time and at appropriate temperature to kill these pathogens that are accumulated in our foods. We should also store food at a proper temperature, especially with freezing. And also, we should use safe water and raw materials when it comes to food that we eat. Now, to the main topic for today, that is the care and handling of our food. Here are some few things that we need to take into consideration. Now, in caring and handling of our food, it has been grouped into some few stages, and it includes the production stage. That's the first stage of handling our foods, and also transportation stage. We also have the preparation and the processing stage. And we also have the storage and preservation stage. And last but not the least, we have the serving and the consumption stage. And we are going to take it one after the other. So we start with the production stage. That's the first stage of handling our foods. Now, when it comes to the production stage, there are some few things that we need to consider. And it includes: 1. We should avoid the use of fresh excreta as manure, and this goes to our farmers since they handle most of our food crops. And it says that we should use clean water when we are handling our plants, and also avoid the use of wastewater, and this includes water from our gutters and also water from our backyards in handling our crops. The lands for planting food crops must not be contaminated with dangerous chemicals or disease-causing organisms. And so crops should be harvested early when due to prevent insects and rodents from contaminating the foods. We should also apply the right and correct amount of fertilizer for a good yield. Then animals should also be fed with enough food and water. Then slaughterhouses, that is our abattoir, should be kept clean since they handle most of our animals. Meat should also be inspected by our health inspector, that's our veterinary officers, before it is sold to the public. Now, fish farmers should feed fishes with enough feed and water. The use of chemicals should be avoided in fishing, that's using poison as bait for fish, since it comes back to we the humans. And also, diseased animals should not be slaughtered or sold to the public, and this goes to we those in the house as well. We should avoid taking animals that die. We should avoid taking animals that have already died before being slaughtered, since we don't know what actually killed those animals. Now we are done with the production stage. We are moving to the transportation stage. Let's look at some few things that need to be taken notes when we are transporting our foods, and that is, food transportation should be done hygienically first and foremost. Now, our meat, our fish, our vegetables should be kept in a clean and well-fitting lid to protect dust and flies from harboring on it. Now, our vehicles that transport these foods should also be kept clean. Then perishable foods like vegetables, fish and meat, and fruit should be transported early and should be prevented from undue heat to prevent it from going bad. Live animals and food should not be transported simultaneously to avoid the food being contaminated by their defecation. Then handling and distribution of food must be done with clean hands. That's for those handling the foods. And also it must be kept in clean containers as well. Now let's move to the storage and the preservation stage. Food preservation is a process of preventing food from going bad, and this can be achieved by storage. Now the following methods can be used to preserve and store food, and that is 1. Harvested food crops are supposed to be kept in barns to prevent weevils and rodents from destroying them. Food should be stored in a clean and also a safe place. Then always use the right and correct storing methods to store foods. Now let's take the preservation side. Here are some few methods that are used in preserving our foods. We have the drying method. We also have the salting method that's used mostly in preserving our fish. We also have the smoking as well, which is also used mostly in preserving our fish as well. We have the freezing method. We have the bottling method, and also the canning method that is used in preserving most of our food items as well. Now let's move on to the preparation stage. We've talked about the first 3 stages. Now let's move on to the preparation stage. Now food preparation entails making food ready for consumption and requires selection, measurement, and combination of ingredients. Now one should always purchase fresh foods and avoid moldy and rotten foods. We should avoid buying rotten foods, as most of us do, especially with tomatoes. Most of us buy the rotten ones since it's a lot cheaper than the fresh ones. Now strict personal cleanliness should be ensured, especially by washing hands thoroughly before handling our foods. Food environment should be kept clean. It will be of no benefit when our foods are kept clean, yet when we bring it to an unclean environment to cook, it will still be the same, since the environment is not clean, and these same animals will come back, these same pathogens will come back and settle on the foods that have been kept clean for consumption. And also cooking utensils must also be kept clean. And also we should cover our food always to prevent dust and flies from settling on it. Then food and vegetables should be washed well before consumption. Now to the serving and consumption stage. That's the last aspect of it. It says that plates, spoons, bowls, and cups should be well washed before using to serve. Food should be eaten in a clean, well ventilated environment to prevent flies. Dirty habits of picking the nose, sneezing, coughing on food should be avoided. And this goes mostly to our food vendors. Wash all cooking and feeding utensils immediately after use. Then food should not be served with cracked utensils since it harbors germs. Now let's look at some dangers of unhygienic food practices. It says that unhealthy food can cause diseases and infection that can pose serious risks to our health as individuals. Now just some few things that I would like to add. The food we eat has great impact on our health, and seeing to it that our food is always made clean and kept safe should be the priority of each individual. So to our mothers, our wives, our daughters, our food vendors, and also to our farmers, let's take note of these factors to develop a healthy family and a healthy lifestyle. We are what we eat. This and more will follow. Assalamu alaikum.
يواني قلبي لكن معي ربي إلهي رحمن أنت نور الأمانة. I know some doors you may close, but this is how life's story goes. You are my guide, the source of light, my Lord, my Lord. هو المنان الرحمن